here. We're connecting.
Connected. All right.
Hi.
Hello. How's it going?
Hey.
It's going good. I'm so happy to see you guys.
So happy to see you too. This is awesome.
Yeah,
Weird
this is
times that we're
our
in.
first time going live, so.
Oh my God, is it?
Yeah. You've taken our live virginity. That's great.
Yay! So let's start things off with a drink, guys. What is your drink of choice?
So we're sort of drinking cans, and like we haven't got paid to do a promotion yet. So okay, yeah. So we're working on getting the grolschen.
We drink anything as long as it's wet, really.
Yeah. I was thinking we should start our own. That there should be like a restart lager and JUHA lager and all that. And,
Okay, well, I'm gonna do a shot of rum. I'm working my way through my bar that I've got.
Nice. I do like dark
it's
rum.
literally just like drinking everything that you have, like you guys said. If it's wet, you'll drink it.
Yes. The quarantine quota.
All right, cheers, guys.
All right, from across the pond to your quarantine, from our quarantine. Bottoms up.
Oh God.
how was it?
Woo! Woo! That's the way to start the afternoon. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon here for you guys
right.
this evening.
Hell yeah.
Holy shit.
I think you need a chaser for that.
Hold on, I got some coffee here.
Yeah.
Oh, well done. All right. Yeah.
Rum and coffee, nice.
So let's get this going. You guys have been doing these music videos every day called Music in Our Underpants. Can you talk about how that started and the inspiration for it? I've been loving the videos. They're so funny.
Yeah, I don't know, because nobody is this used to just being lounging around the house, being locked in our houses like a prison cell. So most days we don't tend to put on trousers and, just kind of do that kind of stereotypical musician thing, like get up at 1 in the afternoon. But I mean, all of that is because we work quite late, usually into the wee hours. But so we've spent, the last 2 weeks not putting on trousers and just making music and collaborating.
Yeah, well, like I said to him, like, dude, we need to be sure that, during this this isolated time that we actually change our underwear every day, and like go in public seemed like a good incentive to do that because, you don't want folks thinking you're disgusting.
Dirty punks.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love seeing how the videos have progressed. Like you've got about 8 of them out now. And from the first one to the 8th one, you guys are definitely putting a lot more effort into them. Like they're getting really elaborate now.
Yeah, it's getting it's taking its toll though, because the workload is getting higher the more we try to improve from the last one. But yeah, we might sort of just do some simple acoustic ones.
Yeah, because we started snapping at each other now. Like at the beginning, it was just like, oh yeah, chill. We'll just like put a little like camera on us. Now it's sort of like, I don't like that edit. Like, so, I look like that.
There's too much of you in that shot.
Oh my God, yeah, I know. Even the last one, you guys left like the outside of your place, and you were kind of in the hallways of your apartment, your elevators and everything.
Yeah, in our undies, yeah, why not? I mean, no one's around, everyone's isolating, so it's quite safe.
Yeah. Oh, we are in our
yes,
we are in our undies, by the way.
Oh my God, are you?
Yeah, I was trying to sort of adjust mine for optimum bulginess, but Kieran doesn't really have to. But anyway, that's what I was going for.
That's neither here.
Yeah.
I know. That's kind of a theme in your guys' videos too. You always keep doing these like close-up shots of your fucking dicks. Like.
No, the reason for that and the reason why we stuffed it so much was it was actually a moment of crisis where we were like, this video is not that good and it's not that funny. And I was like, if we just add our crotches and stuff them really big, then like, well, then that's funny. And it made the video a lot better actually. So.
Yeah, we just at the last minute we were doing that song, Walking on Sunshine. We're like, oh, it's a little bit boring, and then how could we kind of spice it up? And then we just stuffed loads of socks down our crotches, and we just cracked up for half an hour. We're like, okay, yeah, this is gonna make the video.
It is really funny, like, and like the banana leaves and things that you like, just all the props that you guys have. You guys have a lot of props.
Yeah, we do. We have
That's
a lot of
Colin's been collecting that stuff for years. So
yeah, and Kieran has always said you're never going to do anything with that. And I was like, someday, and then coronavirus came, and I was just validated. Yeah.
So, but even with all that, as funny as the videos are, I saw that you guys have been raising money for different organizations, different charities with your videos, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that was I don't know. I don't remember who suggested that, but it was awesome, and we didn't really know about the whole the way that you could basically on Facebook just put down a cause and say donate, and it turned out my workplace, I think your workplace, and all these other causes that we'd worked with, I'll have it, and so. So yeah, and so that was just sort of we were just sort of killing time and doing stuff, and then we're like, oh, actually, if we're getting this attention, then maybe it can actually serve some of the folks we believe in. So I forgot who suggested that.
Someone suggested I think
it was lovely suggestion. Yeah,
Stefan said, why don't you raise money and if people ask to for requests, and I thought, wow, what a great idea. So we just took that on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in these times, like, I mean, us as artists, we're definitely struggling at the loss of work we have, but there are a lot of people out there that are still working and are fine, and they're, when, as artists, what do? We entertain, so the people that are working want to donate their money to the things that we're creating in this time, because all of our other jobs have been canceled, so this is what we're doing to create.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and my heart goes out to all the tour bookers, the people that we were connected with in the States, like Ron from Carl Space and our booker Mary from Turbo Booking. They're the unsung heroes. No one knows about them. They're just, months of work, 6 months of work and planning and tours just gone because of the virus, you know. And they're having to borrow money, and they're in a real situation, it's not as kind of high profile as the bands, and so it really sucks. And I think, and venues are starting to shut in Berlin and around Europe, and it's going to happen in London and out in America as well, because they struggle to stay open when there's gigs going, like, let alone, no gigs. It's crazy now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it is there, but here in the States, they're definitely working hard to have a lot of relief funds come through for businesses and be more forgiving of, like, commercial rent spaces and things like that. They're really pushing hard for that here in America. So
yeah, well, I think you guys also have something that's happening here is that at a certain time of day, folks just start like clapping for all the healthcare workers and everything, like going out their windows, and I kind of just love that. I mean, it's unfortunate circumstances that makes that happen, but what a joy to just hear, on both sides of the pond, just like folks appreciating and applauding these folks that are just looking after everyone. And
nice feeling of solidarity, just to open your windows and just hear this applause. It's pretty cool.
We don't have that here. Like, I mean, LA, I think it's just because LA is so spread out. It's very
oh, right, okay.
We're not really like, and then everybody just kind of gets in their own spaces and they're like, fuck you, we're in our apartments. Like, we don't have that. We don't have that in America.
Well, it might actually. I think maybe they're doing it in New York, but I think but that's because I think New York is a lot tighter. So yeah.
So tell me, how would you describe the sound of your respective bands for the people out there that aren't familiar with your bands?
I'll go first. Restarts, Abrasive, JUHA, Sexy.
Thank you. I didn't. No, I'm just gonna say that from now on. Just sexy. Yeah, just sexy. No, I'd say so. JUHA, I feel like right now it's sort of like an alternative pop, and I've been calling it anarchist disco. But the truth is that we sort of hop from genre to genre, and it started as a queer hip hop crew with a Middle Eastern thrust in Hawaii, which was a very niche genre, and we were on top of it for sure. But it's sort of it's mutated since then, and right now we're doing very, if you like 80s pop, we're doing very 80s pop kind of stuff. So I think that's what, and always with a bit of a political thing. So yeah,
I'm into it. Like, last night I was walking to CVS for the second time to see if they got their fucking toilet paper in. And I was jamming out to music when I was walking. Of course, the Restarts, I'm a huge fan of you guys. Everyone out there, if you haven't seen it, I interviewed them over the summer. I interviewed Kieran and Robin at Rebellion Festival, so check that out on my YouTube channel. But I love both of your music. It's so different. They fill different moods.
Yeah, definitely.
Can I ask you, like, you pronounce JUHA like basically perfectly, and even my bandmates like can't, like the like my guitarist Fernando, he's Argentinian, so he calls us JUHA. Again, I started it with a Palestinian guy, so it was an Arabic name, JUHA. So I can't actually pronounce it right with the Middle Eastern accent. And my keyboardist says, Jane says JUHA. And so, but you basically said it the way that I do. So how did you do that?
Because I messaged Kieran and I was like,
We had a private
how do you pronounce Colin's band name? I don't want to look like an idiot on camera. And then he said it to me like in text, and then I was like, can you voice note me? I don't know.
Amazing. That's
and you said it perfect. So
yeah, you're doing
I
better.
had to practice that a couple times. I'm like, hi, I'm American and I'm from fucking redneck Florida, okay? Like that's hard for me to say. Okay, so next question. You two, for everyone that doesn't know out there, you guys are actually married. So what's one thing you guys have been loving the most about spending so much time together in quarantine?
We're kind of treating it like what they call a staycation, you know, like a low budget holiday. It's to just take time off work and just stay at home and just, you know, instead of having to book flights and hotels or whatever and go, holidays can be stressful. So we're treating it like a staycation where, you know, you get up when you want and you kind of eat when you want, you drink when you want. If it's 2 in the afternoon, it doesn't matter. And then just doing a collaborative thing, which we've been talking about doing for like 10 years, and it's taken the virus to make us collaborate.
Yeah, I think actually actually the music in our underpants thing is my favorite thing, and also that I was kind of stoked that our voices sound all right to us together, because we've always had this sort of argument when we tried, in the few times that we tried before, where Karen will say, because you know, I come from sort of a disco background and not a punk one, and so he was like, you know, like, do you have to sing every line like you're Mariah Carey? And I was like, okay, well, like, if like I do stop sounding like a chihuahua every time that you like start singing. Like,
Oh, come on, a pit bull better. Chihuahua.
Yeah, you wish.
I'm not that hot.
Oh, yeah. But so like that was kind of nice, just being like, oh, like we not only work as a couple, but like we can actually do something artistically, and it's and that was really sweet, you know.
Yeah, that's a special thing to have. So on the flip side of that, what has been irritating you guys the most about spending so much time together?
I think having no schedule or no agenda, you know, so we've said we're going to do these videos. So that's given us a bit of a schedule. But I think the problem is with a lot of couples and families and people that are self-isolated, if you don't have a schedule or a routine, it kind of works against you, because normally if you're out working, you're away from your partner, your loved ones, and then you miss each other for 8 hours and you come back and it's a joy to see each other. But if you're with each other 24/7, yeah, 21 days in a row, you're kind of like, fuck.
It also makes you like, or it makes me, I should say, just lazy, because you know I don't have like a huge demand for my band at this moment, and so I've got a single coming out, a music video coming out, an album coming out that I really need to lay the groundwork for promoting. But when you live with a partner, it's sort of like, or we could just watch Star Trek, every episode of every offshoot of Star Trek all night long. So it just makes you like really lazy, basically. So that's what irritates me. Is that I'm just like, okay, we'll watch Picard.
Yeah, I think in this time, you know, we've got so much time on our hands, but it's really easy to just fuck off with it, or you could, you know, be proactive and productive and do things with it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so talk about what's some of the best shows you guys have ever played as musicians.
Mine would have to be on our Southeast Asia tour. We did a tour through Indonesia and Malaysia and Singapore, and it was all built around this Libertad Fest, which is on this tiny little island, and it's the most idyllic white sand, crystal clear blue water. The island itself was, you could walk across it in 5 minutes. So it was basically like Gilligan's Island, but just inhabited with about 500-600 punks. MDC was there as well. There was punks from like Austria, Germany, Australia, America, UK, everywhere. It was incredible. And we spent a couple of days there, and just they erected a old army tent and a kind of makeshift PA system. The sound wasn't amazing, but the love and the energy was just kind of really amazing. And we fell in love with Indonesia. So to all the Bandung punks and Jakarta punks and Malay punks. Fucking love them. And that was, for me, the best gig I've ever played. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I have to say that on that tour, he was posting all these amazing photos on Facebook about it. And a mate of ours just said to me, she said, yeah, I was in Morocco at the time he was there, and I was jealous. So yeah. For me, so I don't really have, I never really think of, I try not to think of gigs in terms of like good or bad or best or not, just because for me, I always try to find like the best and worst in every gig so that I can, you know, celebrate what worked and find the stuff to improve on. But I do have gigs that are more interesting than others. And so the gig that I remember most is, it was this outdoor festival, and I was introducing this song, which is called Don't Let Your Lover Make a Mess Out of You. And it's sort of a joke song, and I was sort of doing my spiel about don't let your lover make a mess out of you. And this really drunk woman just shouted out, she said, you know how my lover made a mess out of me? He took out my eye. And then she reached into her eye socket, took out her glass eye, showed it to like everyone in the audience, and then she started shouting at me. She was like, can I borrow your water bottle? Because I need water to put this shit back in my and so and you know, at that moment, you kind of like, you know, you're trying to be funny on stage, and you're like, oh, this is kind of serious. And so you're like, how do I respond to it? So for me, that was the most memorable. It was just the glass eye and the.
So where was that again?
This is in London. It was in a cemetery, actually. It was a cemetery festival. So
shit gets fucking weird in Europe. Like, I feel like a lot of the shit that goes down there would never, ever, ever, ever happen here in America. Like, it's like a lady fucking pulled out her eye. What the fuck? Okay, well, if that's your best show, I'm really interested to hear what is your guys' worst shows and why.
I think that was my best and worst. So why don't you talk about your worst show?
Worst show, yeah. I mean, similarly at any show, even if like two people show up, we just play our hearts out, and usually those two people will be like, "That was amazing. We feel so special, like a private viewing or whatever." So I never normally get disappointed. But we did one gig in 2006 in Birmingham. It was one of these big all-dayer. It was called, I think, Academy in the UK, and we got the first slot. Like, no one wants the first slot, but I'm like, okay, you know, these bands are. It was Sham 69, The Damned, loads of big names. Oh. And so he said, you got the slot at 6:50 p.m. You know, the doors were supposed to open at 6:30. And so we said, okay, yeah, fine, good. So we got on stage at 10 to 7. And there was some problem with the security, and there was a huge queue outside, like maybe, you know, 300-400 people, ticket holders waiting to come in. And they didn't open the doors till like 7:15. So like, the first person came in and were like, thank you, good night. And I just like, but I mean, it was actually the venue's fault. It was quite a commercial place, the O2 Academy. And, you know, too many people involved, too many cooks in the kitchen, spoils the broth. But
yeah, I've seen that happen here at shows in America. And it's like, you know, I get that they don't want to push the schedule because they've got like maybe a curfew at the end of the night, and they don't want to, you know, fuck with the headliners. But it's like, come on, that's just idiotic. Like, really? Yeah. Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. Next question. For what in your life do you guys feel the most grateful?
I'd say my health, and that we've got, you know, a roof over our heads, especially in this pandemic. So yeah, you can't deny that if you've got a place to live, heating and running water, you're doing all right in this world, because this pandemic is an equalizer. You know, whether you're wealthy or poor, you know, super rich elite, they're getting sick as well, and there's no escape from it. But at least if you have the ability to self-isolate, that's a privilege, and so I recognize that.
For sure.
Yeah. For me, it's actually at this moment in time my mental health, because I didn't have that for many years, for several decades, and for some, I guess what I'm saying is I'm grateful for my medication, and I think that you know, mental health is such a fragile thing, and for some reason, and this is actually before the whole virus thing hit, I began to even out a bit. And so I'm grateful for all the friends and loved ones that have seen me at my worst and supported me during my, you know, the ruts of that. And the charity that we supported with the recent video, Core Arts, is actually my day job. And it's a mental health arts place that I adore more than any. I started as a volunteer before I got employed there. And I'm thinking about how in this time of, you know, where everybody's isolating, how doubly hard it is for people that are already isolated and stigmatized, and have a difficult time finding those support networks. So I think that the work that not only the general health professionals but the mental health professionals are doing right now is really phenomenal. And so I'm grateful for all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, in this time, I have friends and they're like, oh yeah, I've just been doing phone calls with my therapist. And it's like, what can you do in these times? But I think it's important to practice gratitude and not feed into the fear of all of this that's going on, because it's like, you know, this is such a beautiful time of really being forced for everyone to slow down, like the struggles that come with it. But you know, we're always so busy. It's a great time to just connect with ourselves, connect with our loved ones, and just really take this time to determine what's most important, you know, instead of just being upset about it and having the sads and all the negative things about it. It's like you could turn this into a positive and make the light of it, because like you guys said, we're all in this together.
Yeah. Well, I think you're really right there. And I think that the you know, I get a bit cautious talking about it because I don't want to, you know, deny that this is a tragedy and that over 1 million people have died, and that this is really, really fucking horrible for some people. Yeah, but infected, not that. Okay, yeah, but so again, I get cautious about the language that I use, but I absolutely agree with you. Is that on a very fundamental level, many people, the ones that aren't having to experience the health ramifications or the losses of their loved ones and stuff, on a very fundamental level, people are getting in touch with what's important and making an effort to make the connections that before we just sort of took for granted. And I think that it is a bit magical in that way. And so I don't want to come up the wrong way saying like this is a glorious time or anything. It's a tragic time. But I think when you say that, like, that there is this sort of spirit that comes in, I absolutely agree. And I mean, maybe that's what I appreciate so much right now. I think you just nailed it. It's just that feeling of coming together. So
silver lining.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's like people need to stay the fuck home. Like I keep seeing people that I know and they're like out, and it's like, what are you doing? There are people dying. This is literally a historical moment in time that we are all going through. And it's like, people are fucking dying. Stay the fuck inside.
Yeah.
Do this, what we're doing right now.
Well, what I've been amazed in, okay, so there are 3 dudes that I watch in the States, like every night pretty much, which is, I watch the Colbert Report, I watch Seth Meyers, and I watch Jimmy Kimmel. And I love that, you know, I sort of idolize these guys as politically progressive and stuff. I love that their whole show and organization was like, actually, we're going to shut down and just go into the homes and, you know, risk that whole, like, letting go of the whole sort of audience applause and the slick, you know, Hollywood or New York thing, and they just went ahead and did it. So yeah, I loved that.
Hearing the jokes and the applause.
Yeah, I thought celebrities would be too selfish to, not them, but just many would be too selfish to stay the fuck home, as you said. And
I mean, there are big essential workers, you know, and friends are posting online, like, I'm in the place I work is an essential business, and whether it's industrial or medical, and so I think some people are feeling like a bit criticized if they are going out. I mean, if you look on the streets of London, there are people on the buses and stuff, but it's very sparse. But there is still people actively going out and obviously working on the front line in the NHS, the hospitals and stuff. So yeah.
Well, maybe people there are more responsible, because you know what? People here, they straight up in California had to close the fucking beaches because people were not taking it seriously, and they're like, oh, it's beautiful, let's go to the beach.
Yeah, same here. They've shut our local park, which is massive. Victoria.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? This is exactly what you're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, they've given,
Okay.
because they've given us like a half hour a day to exercise and then make a run to the grocery store. What have they done in the States for, like, are there rules that have been laid out for you guys?
You can go for walks and stuff, but they're telling everybody keep a 6-foot distance between each other. And me personally, I don't really leave my house. Like, I work out at home on YouTube, and it's very rare for me to leave my house in these times because I just don't fucking want to. I want to flatten the curve. And it's like, who the fuck knows who's got it? I can have it. Who the hell knows? You know, so let's just stay inside.
Yeah.
I think your hair would keep a safe distance from people. That's like
Somebody fucking, when this all fucking started, some motherfucker, I was in CVS getting my motherfucking toilet paper, and some fucker took a photo of me from behind and then memed it and called me the coronavirus. Like, fuck you, I'm just over here trying to get my toilet paper. I hate you so much. Anyway, next question. Do you guys have any guilty pleasures?
oh, tons.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so because I've been asked this before, and like the thing is that I actually have no guilty pleasures, but I have pleasures that other people think I should feel guilty about. And so for me, like, I know the value. Like, I'm totally aware of the value of I Wonder If I Take You Home by Lisa and Cult Jam featuring Full Force. If they don't get it, then they're the ones that should feel guilty for their ignorance. And so that is, so no, I have none. Yeah.
I'm from a different upbringing, but yeah, I mean, because of, you know, growing up, whatever was playing on the radio, I now love. So I go through Spotify and I make these playlists, and it, you know, it's comprised of bands like Bachman Turner Overdrive and Journey and Foreigner. I just like the worst kind of, you know,
Doesn't fucking like Journey, like
prog metal
like Journeys
for the 80s. And it's I think part of it is because it brings back memories when you were 10 or whatever. And yeah, so I can get down with a bit of that. Yeah, Foreigner.
Do you have guilty pleasures?
Well, musically, yeah. I mean, I'm letting them fly now, though. I'm like, fuck yeah, I like hip hop. Fuck yeah, I like some of these popular artists. I don't give a shit. Yes, I love punk rock. Yes, that will always be my heart. I don't give a fuck. I like Youngblood. I like fucking Megan Thee Stallion. Hell yeah, I do.
Yes.
I like Cardi B. Hell yeah.
Oh fuck yeah, that woman is awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so we're halfway through now. Will you guys play us a song?
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
And I just want to say hi because I'm seeing all the stuff coming up. The punks in Argentina and Brazil and Italy that have said hey. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in. Yes, we're gonna play a song.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
are you guys showing your underwear up? Oh my god.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to go for maximum bulges, but I don't know.
All right, guys. I said I would even it out. I'll get in my underwear too.
Yeah, you did. Yes, thank you. I was actually going to ask you about that. Yeah.
I just got this swimsuit yesterday. It just arrived. It's a swimsuit, but it looks like underwear.
That is you are like in like super sexy underwear. Like this is actually I think the first pair of sexy underwear that I have. And it's not even that sexy, but you've got it going on.
Isn't this the funny thing that we're making shows at home? It's like we've just lost all inhibitions. It's like fuck it, the world is ending.
And you told me like last month even that like oh yeah, you're gonna be doing interviews with Erin and you'll all be in your underwear. Like, huh? What?
This is so fun. Oh my god. I'm gonna do another shot.
I like the fact that we both managed to put our hair up today, but didn't manage to put trousers or bottoms on.
Oh yeah, I put up my hair too.
You know what? It's okay. I don't put pants on most days.
Again, that's why we did this, is just to be sure we did. Like, so yeah. And by the way, when I don't look at you when I'm singing a line, it's because I don't actually know the words to these songs. They're Restart's cover songs, and I've heard the punk rock versions, but that's like yeah. And so, I've proofread some of the liner notes and stuff, but I'm glad I wasn't offended by some of the lyrics. So I don't know what they are. So now that I do.
I know. I love the renditions of Restart songs you've been doing, like bringing in your flair of it. They're really funny.
Well, we're gonna do one of those. So this is about all the Yeah, just about the venues that have been shutting down before the virus came. This is a song called Shut Doors.
Yay!
Get it together, man. Shut doors! Shut doors! 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, your eight, the world around. We'll get it pressed out of our own town. You gotta get it for yourself. It's like I won't get away. Taking a stand. I do the rules so everybody wins. Ain't no fun in a tempting and true. Make it strong. Make it move. Shut doors! Shut doors! Where to belong, feeling up, community that's strong. Let you dance and put your blood to the noise of play fight. We were here first! Shut doors! Shut doors! Taking bribes, no room for you, the day of music died, and they were singing. Shut doors! Shut doors! 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yay!
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what. So those are Erin. That was our first live thing, right? Thank you for that.
It was great. It was great. Oh my god, there's like one squeaky spot on my floor and it kept squeaking when I was jumping around.
It was percussive then. It was like a.
Oh my god. That was really funny. You know, these times are just so weird, but it's so fun kind of, it's like, hey, the world is ending. Let's just let go of all of our inhibitions right now.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So, okay, let's jump back in. Next question. If you guys had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
Oh, yeah. I hate these questions. Creative, bossy, and passionate. Yeah. You?
Okay, so I only thought of one. Because I'm so indescribable. So undescribable would be one. I just thought about this. Clever, Colin. So the one that I came up with, I couldn't think of the other two, but the one that I came up with was mutable. Which they say about, like, there's an astrological term called mutable, which is that these are the folks that sort of any situation or crowd or scene that they go into, they just sort of find their place in and adjust to. And I've been really fucking blessed in my life that I've known people from all walks of life. And actually, marrying a punk rocker was the first time that I was ever part of the scene, because before that it had like I'd had like 1 foot in a lot of scenes and never 2 feet in many. And I still don't really in that way, but the mutable aspect for me is just it's it's not even like faking your way through, like where you go from one scene that is new to you. It's just sort of it's adapting and finding your place in it and finding out where you're useful. And so mutable was the big one, I guess, for me. And that's it.
The other two?
Just one. Just
I don't
use the one.
describe me. hot as hell, and that's the.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They were to describe me hot as hell.
Oh, we got a lot of hearts came up there.
Oh.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. What did you guys always want to try but never found the courage to do?
I guess, you know, when I see these people that do these kind of skydiving things with these videos of them like flying through the air, it's just, that looks amazing, and that's something I'd like to do, but I would have it would be like a big hurdle for me to get over to do that. So
Same.
that's not a good birthday present, by the way. Here's a surprise. You're gonna jump out of a plane.
You know, Jamie from the UK subs is like super big up.
Are amazing, and he, of course, he has the perfect camera.
Oh, what, does he jump out of airplanes?
Yeah, it does that free flying before the chute opens.
Yeah, he does the skydiving, and he's like, oh, it's the best thing ever, and I'm with you. I don't know if I could do that. Mm-mm.
But you would love to, right? Like in
I don't even know if I would love to. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. Like
I have a friend in New Zealand he does it as well. He does it all the time. He's always uploading videos, and he's either bungee jumping or jumping out of planes, and just the guy spends more time in the air and atmosphere than he does on the ground. And
oh my god,
inspiring. I try it once and then count myself lucky if I survived.
Yeah, yeah. Again, for me, that I sort of did the one that I was really afraid of, which is boxing, and it's because I don't, like, I've punched like 2 people in my life, and that was when I was in nursery school and didn't know why. But yeah, so I ended up
like, a mean left hook.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I don't even know why I did that to Calvin Preston, my best friend in nursery school, because he wasn't bothering me either. I just was like, I'm gonna punch you right now and do it. But other than that, I never have. And so I got it in my head that I was gonna do it, and actually started the training, and then I found out I could take a punch. I could take a punch to the ribs, but then my stupid knees gave out, like an old fucking geezer, like that. And so I had to. I'm still going back. I'm still going back at some point with like personal training. I trained in a group, but for me that was actually. Was I drunk when I committed to it? I think I was drunk when I signed up for it. But sometimes, but I actually did it, and there was like a little bit of a letdown that I wasn't a natural. Let's put it that way. I'm still going to pursue it, but I'm still not I didn't, walk into the class and suddenly find this great discovery that I was Rocky Balboa all along, and I hadn't known it. And but so I recommend just doing stuff that makes one uncomfortable, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so when do you guys feel most yourselves?
I think after 1 or 2 beers and in a gig environment. I don't want to like say alcohol, but it's, we spend a lot of times in big, large cities like London where I kind of put the visors up, and I kind of, have a kind of a protective shell, and people do that in like large cities. And then when you get into a relaxed environment like a gig space and you have a drink, or even if you don't drink, I'm sure people they let down their guard and they meet people, and just traveling with music for me is when I feel like my true self, because you're meeting people, you're all there, you have this common thing, love of music, and yeah, that's when I feel it.
Yeah, nice. For me, I guess there are two. One, a mate of mine once said to me, I never feel like I see the real you until I see you on stage. And I think that's absolutely true. Like I live for the stage, but I'm oddly an introvert. Like I'm a very introverted person. I seem like an extrovert because it's what I want to do with my life is be on stage. But that's sort of where I feel free to be any aspect of me, and that way you're not with a mate that's known you for so long, and so you act in a certain way and they're like, well, that's not you, that's not really you. Like you can just be anything that you want to actually be on stage, and so I love that freedom. But the other is actually it's when I'm walking alone, and I come from a long line of mountain men. Like my dad is 80 years old and he still climbs a mountain pretty much every weekend except for when it's winter, and So when I'm walking, I feel confident, and if I don't, I remind myself to start walking like a badass. And if you start walking like a badass and get your kind of groove on and your little what do we call it, the mosey, like your cowboy mosey or something, you start walking like that physically, and your brain actually catches up. And your brain is like, oh, we're walking like a badass, we must be a badass. And so I find that like actually walking solo and just freely is yeah, it makes me feel like the badass that we all are inside. So
yeah. I think you know, as people, we have so many different sides of ourselves, and it's like an onion peeling the layers back, and it's like, you know, only a select few people in your life get to see like the real you.
Well, that's an onion. That's a really nice way of putting it. Yeah.
We're like onions. We're onions. We're smelly and, you know, sweet and all the good things.
That was beautiful and really smelly.
Yeah, he makes me cry when I cut him.
Okay, so speaking of that, what smells make you the most happy?
Oh yeah, I got the answer for this. I feel like our natural pheromones and sweat are sort of the scent of the gods, and so that it really needs to be bottled. Like that shit needs to be bottled and sold and stuff. But then the other, so that's the best scent in the world. But the other one that I have is there's this brand, and I'm not doing a product placement right now, but I'd be open to it, Bulldog. So there's this Bulldog moisturizer for men.
Okay. For
men. And I love the smell of it. And then I made this shocking discovery, which is that it actually smells the same on women or any other gender. So I don't know why it's actually for men. But it's for men for some reason. But I think if women and you know, transgender people and whoever like buy it, like it's still a good smell, obviously. Yeah. So that's
a masculine, musky smell.
I guess so. Is it? Is it?
Different smells.
I don't tend to gender. You're so politically incorrect. I don't tend to gender smells.
No, but yeah, I mean, anybody's free to wear any aroma they like. But yeah, I like
that's
it
very liberal of you, Karen.
I was just gonna say something really boring, like fresh baked bread. Makes me happy. That's like if I like to cook, so if you know, if you walk into a house and there's food cooking, and especially bread is a very strong smell. I like that.
It's recognizable.
Yeah, I was gonna say that this is so weird, but like I'm vegan now. I've been vegan for almost 3 years, but like I still have like the memory of eating those disgusting rotisserie chickens, and whenever I fucking walk into the grocery store and smell them, I'm kind of like, damn, that smells good, but it's also really fucking disgusting at the same time.
No, I have a theory on that. So when they do the festivals in the park here, and we go in, and there's always like a Jamaican jerk chicken. And it just when it sizzles on the rotisserie, the smell is amazing. But the smell is actually, it's all the spices. You know, the kind of oil from the chicken is just the catalyst that lets the spice diffuse in the air. So that's why you can make any kind of vegan product, put the same jerk spicing in, and it's amazing. So
I didn't know that. For me, the around that smell, my first instinct is because I'm fortunate is that I was never a vegan that craved meat, but I find that, so my first response is that sort of like, oh, this is disgusting, but then it also smells like barbecue, and then I'm like, God, I miss Grandpa and Grandma so much, and so like, so it brings back this like heartfelt, like, oh my God, I love it so much, why did they have to die?
Oh. Okay, so I'm gonna actually clip a couple of our questions because Instagram only gigives us an hour, and we've got 15 minutes left. So I'm gonna clip a couple of our questions because I don't want your last song to get clipped.
Yep, chop chop.
So what is your best piece of advice?
My piece of advice would be, you know, a lot of people are fucking judgmental, and I think, you know, if you see something that pisses you off, someone you don't like, and you're gonna be like, that person is fucking this and that. I'm like, first ask yourself, do you do something similar? Can you do something better? You know, so before you, you know, it's an age-old proverb, like, but before you slag someone else off, just take a look at yourself, like turn the camera and just say, you know, do you really want to say this? You know, there's a lot of fucking infighting in the punk scene and in the world in general. And I think people just take a step back, and you might be better off by just not saying something. You can hold that opinion, but just is it worth putting it out there in the kind of stratosphere or online for other people to kind of agree with? And it just brings up this horrible mob mentality that humans have, like this kind of bullying bullshit. So,
you don't gotta tell me, I'm the queen of it over here. This year at Rebellion, somebody fucking threw a bottle at the back of my head when I was walking through the main square, and it's like, oh, cool. Lovely.
A Rebellion of all fucking places.
So what about you, Colin?
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to experience that. It sucks. Okay, so I would say, okay, so two of my best advices aren't even mine. I've got three. But the first one has to do with something that you said. Toni Morrison was asked, do you trust your instincts? And we're supposed to say yes to that, but instead she said, well, I look at them. And I thought that was important because it means that sometimes our instinct is to punch somebody in the face, like Captain Preston in nursery school, that doesn't deserve it. And sometimes our instincts are spot on. So I believe in, like, you got your instinct, look at it.
Use that as a reference.
Yeah. And the second one was from the old comedian Moms Mabley, and she said, if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. And I thought that was nice. You need to try new things. For me personally, just on a strictly musical level, I'm like, even if you hate a song and it's like this boy band song that you can't stand, find something to admire about it. Even if it's just like, that was mixed really well, or that dude is pitch perfect, even though I hate his voice. Like, you can always find something. And I feel like that's important to do. So.
Yeah, it's the glass half full mentality where it's like, you know what, this isn't for me, but I can really appreciate what they did here. But it's just not for me.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, you don't have to campaign against something. You can just not like it, and that's fine. Yeah.
Move on.
The last question: what's the best, most important thing you guys have realized or learned about yourselves in these quarantine times?
Just I think the whole planet is reevaluating everything. Like what friendships mean, what family means, communication. Appreciating music and venues and the places where you work and your colleagues and everything and nature. And, so I think there's going to be a huge kind of transformation in people's kind of psyche about how we should treat the planet, and so there's all these statistics now, like in China, the pollution levels have totally dropped with everybody isolating, no one's driving. Crazy. So in a matter of 2 weeks, well, China, a couple months, but the air is crystal clear. There's like some time-lapse video just showing it going from like dense yellow pollution to just clear blue skies. And so I think we need to reassess, and I think that's going to hopefully bolster the climate crisis campaign, and people are going to start to understand that, actually we need to kind of respect Mother Earth, because she doesn't give a shit about us. Like, she can wipe us out in a virus. It doesn't matter. So we need to kind of, we're at her disposal. So we need to kind of smarten up and look at how we treat the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, on a very sort of generic level, I've realized how fortunate I am, not just because I got a roof over my head and we got enough money to survive for a while without the instant panic. I mean, we'll have to get back to work eventually, but but I've learned actually it's a really good time to be an introvert. I talked about introversion a bit before, but for me, like, this is they always say that extroverts sort of thrive on being with other people, whereas introverts sort of walk into a situation with lots of folks and they give their energy the whole time, and that's what they're doing, and so they need to recharge a bit. And so I'm recharging a lot right now. And it's obviously I love and have like the most amazing people in my life, which I've been really blessed about. But I'm just aware of how fortunate I am, because there are so many people out there that need to be in contact with other people all the time, or at least haven't experienced this before. And that depends so much on the support of different organizations and their mates and care workers and all this stuff that aren't getting it right now. And so, if anything, I just realized like I'm a really fucking lucky motherfucker, and I'm also I also just feel really lucky to not only be loved but to love, like just to know that there in this world that seems like where love can be scarce sometimes, it's just that there is this flow that goes back and forth, that love is all. So it's so yeah, I've become more appreciative of that, I guess. Yeah.
Aw, that's beautiful.
No.
That's beautiful. Both of your answers
All
are
you
very
need is love.
beautiful. So let's close with one more
All right.
song. Instagram is only going to give us 9 more minutes before they say,
Okay.
fuck you guys, cut it off.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna try to like adjust the bulge again so that it goes from maximum. There it goes. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Yeah. So,
The underwear smack. You guys are so fucking fun. Like, what is this? We're gonna look back on this on my YouTube channel and be like, what the fuck were we thinking?
I know, like, if there's evidence of it, we're gonna be, oh my god. By the way, I should also say, like, Erin is my favorite name it's my my sister's name. So I love your name so much. So I always have. Like,
thanks. That's so nice.
So, all right.
I
So
want to get around the squeaky spot on my floor.
Okay, we've got those too. Yeah. Are you ready?
I am ready. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
What does that say?
Again, I've got to actually look at the lyrics that are on our wall right now. So
I love this though. Like I miss going to gigs and being entertained, and now it's like you guys are here entertaining me and entertaining everyone else.
I love it. I love this experience so much. It's so
Okay.
awesome. Yeah. All right.
This one is called Frustration.
Yay!
Written by Dara from.
It's one of my favorite like restart songs. I love it.
I'm in such a fucking pain, I don't want to see a face in the box of my case when the gun goes. Give her so practice, just on the back, all sides on attack. So fuck you. So he had a fuck you, yeah, think he's trying to do anything, go on you, but the bubble ain't. It'll always be the same, on the back with the pain when you go get sprayed like you all do. Frustration! Frustration! I'm just fucking saying I don't want to see a man get the fuck out of my face. What you gonna do? Do it. Gotta crack me and that's on my back. I'm trying to attack, so fuck you. So you better fuck you again. Think it's all you. Take it for more. You can family. It'll all be the same. But I'm fine with the pain. When you go and get the pain, when you go and get it. Frustration! Fucking with the nose to the way down. Frustration! Fucking with the nose to the way down. Frustration! Frustration! Frustration!
All right.
Thank you guys so much. That was really fucking fun.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much, Erin. Like, this has been so much fun.
It's a way to pass the time.
This is our human interaction. It's nice.
It is. It's nice to kind of meet up with folks.
What is that?
It's nice to meet up with folks, through online and stuff, because we now understand how much social interaction we're used to and we're missing. Yeah, and it's kind of weird. But yeah,
but I mean, there's ways to just adapt and learn how to be in this new time, So
Yeah.
I want to close out with that, and I want to say thank you guys so much for being on my new weird little 20 question segment that has been birthed in this time.
I love your weird 20 question segment. Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much, Erin.
And good luck with Biff and Jess tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, so everyone out there, I want to say, please go follow JUHA on Spotify. Did I say it right?
Yeah, it's good. It's J to the U to the H to the A. So JUHA, and yeah.
Follow him on Spotify and go listen to his single "Every Step You Take Is a Migration." He has a new single coming out soon. Please go follow and subscribe to the Restarts on YouTube. This is where you can find all of their videos. There are 8 videos that they have up so far for music in their underpants, which are hilarious and wonderfully entertaining. And please support both artists in these times. Follow all of their platforms. Go buy their merch to support the artists. And I hope you guys will keep tuning in. Enjoy. Thank you guys so much. I love you.
Take care. Bye.
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 Bye.